Tebow said, quote, I can tell you how to do your job. Do it just fine. Draw your own conclusions. Well, the question is, have the Jets hurt Tebow's chances in the NFL? Stephen A.
Well, I don't think there's any question that they've done that. I don't know if that's debatable, to be quite honest with you. I'm on the record. We all know I don't think the guy can play. And I don't think he's worthy of being a starting quarterback in the NFL. But having said all of that, the treatment of Tim Tebow has been nothing short of shameful. It's been embarrassing. And, you know, they would have been better off. Tim Tebow would have been better off had they never played him a single down in a Jets uniform, and he was just waiting on the bench for his opportunity to play. Because the way that they have used him, they've made him look worse than what he actually is. The one thing, and not only that, and I've heard no one else bring this up, but Tim Tebow, according to what I was told, was asked to put on weight. He was asked to get heavier. If you're asked to put on weight and you're asked to get heavier, it's going to slow you down as a runner. The one thing that, in my opinion, he did effectively as a member of the Denver Broncos was running the football out of the quarterback position. Clearly, he rushed for over 500 yards last season. He contributed to the Denver Broncos being the #1 rushing offensive attack last season when he was behind center. So to ask him to deviate from what works for him under the illusion, the evident illusion that he was going to be used and utilized in a certain way, and for that then not to come to fruition, you essentially sabotaged. And I don't think there's any way to slice that. Now, some people can sit there and say, well, he's a poor practice player, and he may have been even worse in practice than they realized, blah, blah, blah. The bottom line is this. We don't need to go into what he did last year. We know what he did last year. And we know that he can run the football. So to put him in a position where he actually ends up looking worse, to me, is criminal. It's criminal for a professional organization to do that. And to me, it gives a license to players out there who are clearly reluctant to ever trust a sports franchise. Because now we're looking at Tim Tebow and we're saying, outside of Jacksonville, you know, where he's from, who would obviously sell seats if Tim Tebow arrived, who else should want him? Who else should take him? And unfortunately, I think that has far more to do with the Jets organization than Tebow himself, because he hasn't been given the opportunity to produce, to be judged negatively this year.
Really quickly, you said he would have been far better off if he hadn't played a single down with the Jets. Now, do you agree with that?
Yes,
you
do? I do.
Okay.
Very much agree with that. And by the way, bottom line from you, think he'll get a job next year?
Yeah, I think he's too great of a kid. Somebody will give him a look. They just love him too much. Forget the popularity, the notoriety, whatever. When you see a kid, what happened to him last week with the anonymous quotes, and to see the way he handled it, you knew he was hurt. You knew he was upset.
Yep.
But just the dignity he expressed, you're going to see teams willing to give him a shot. Somebody's going to look at him. I think it should be Jacksonville.
In my career, I have never been more wrong about a story and a development than I was about this one. Because last spring, I thought Rex Ryan truly wanted Tim Tebow and that he would truly give him a 50-50 shot to beat out Sanchez. And I was dead wrong about that because it quickly became clear, for whatever reason it was, resentment of the owner who might have forced this upon the coaching staff, or maybe it was that Tebow just stunk it up in the training camp practices, just the way he had done a year before under the new regime of Elway and Fox in Denver. Whichever it was clear from opening day forward, they felt obligated to stick him in for a play here or play there. And finally, last Monday, I was the first to say to you, it smacked of sabotage because they never used Tebow the way Denver often used Tebow last year. And I don't want to go into gory detail, but it's the spread option. Let him either fake it to Sean Green, in this case, who would be his Willis McGahee, give it, fake it, step back, throw it. That is so hard to defend in the National Football League because nobody else does that. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, you mentioned earlier in the show, remember they took Eric Decker out of that game when you said Harrison knocked him out? From that point forward against the Steelers in that game, in the second quarter, Tebow hit 4 passes of 20 or more yards. Just shredded them. He can throw it when people are running wide open, and that's what that offense, if you run it correctly, it will free receivers up everywhere because it's so hard to defend this spread option going this way or this way. You have to commit more people to the box, and it's single coverage everywhere. Is he a great thrower? No. Can he be an effective thrower? I say yes because I saw it again and again and again last year. And you break the point about he was such a good soldier. He put on, to my eyes, 20 pounds this year, 15 pounds?
About 15 to 20
I mean, it looks a little heavy to me.
About 15 to 20.
Yeah, somebody sent me a montage of that 95-yard drive against beat the Jets in Denver last year.
Yep.
And it's all edited together, boom, 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 boom. Tebow looks sleek and fast, you know. He killed him because they couldn't stop him running football. He looked slow. And so they wind him up like some doll, put him in the backfield, snapping the ball, run straight ahead like a battering ram and get your 2 yards and get off the field. That's all you got?
Right.
Really?
Right.
Okay, so Stephen A., this has been near disastrous for Tebow's career because it hit bottom with the locker room explosion in the New York Daily News, and it didn't do Tebow any good around the league because they're all going to say, God, what if we disintegrated into that kind of problem because of the PR nightmare that Tebow could bring to us? Mm-hmm. So all I can say is I'm going to cling to John Gruden, the great John Gruden's quote last week in USA Today. He will make a difference, Tim Tebow, he will make a difference somewhere else. Well, you know what I know? It's going to take a strong-willed, open-minded coach and GM someplace else to have the guts to bring him in and, in my opinion, say, okay, we're going to scrap what we do. We're not going to be conventional anymore. We're going to let him do what he does. And if they did that right now in Oakland or right now in Jacksonville, he would turn around those two teams in a heartbeat.
Bottom line, do you think anybody's going to give him a chance?
I'm getting skeptical because now it became such a negative PR explosion because it was in New York with the Jets that it's going to be a big turnoff for people around the league, like a no-no. Like, do we really want to subject ourselves to
Which is why I believe it's only Jacksonville.
Okay. But
That's
again,
why I believe it.
You keep talking on the show about what a disaster the Oakland Raiders have become. You don't think Tebow would make a great Raider? Perfect.
Well, he might, but the problem is, do you feel secure enough within yourself?
You got to be big secure. I agree.
And they're not. And I don't believe they are in the post-Al Davis era. So it leaves you to Jacksonville. Forget his skill set or whatever the case may be. We're talking PR here. We're talking about guys, officials. One faulty decision could cost you your career.
I hear you.
And that's how they think. And I think that you're going to have, the only good thing about it is that Tebow is perceived as such a great kid that you can justify. Can we give him a look? You can justify that, okay? Because you have people who clamor to give him a chance. Do you remember how I often talked about the religious zealots out there and blah, blah? You want me to tell you something right now? You might need that support right now. You might need that.
Maybe.
Because, again, that'll help buffer the impact of his potential arrival because people will be willing to give you a chance. You see what I'm saying? Talking strictly PR. Strictly PR.
What do you think?
It's tricky.
It's tricky. It's tricky.
All that matters is, can he win you football games as a starting quarterback?
But unfortunately, Skip, that's where you and I disagree. That's not all that matters when it comes to him because you have to get to the point where he's given the opportunity to pull it off. And in order to be given the opportunity to pull it off, somebody has to bring him in. And in order for them to bring him in, they have to be willing to shoulder all of that notoriety from the time he's brought in to the time he's allowed to play. And that kind of stuff, when you have insecure executives, might not be enough. That's what I'm saying. That's where it gets tricky.
Okay, so you're saying he needs to be in the Bible Belt?
That or Jacksonville.
I got your Bibles. Tim Tebow's coming in
And the
town.
Bible Belt ain't working because Cam Newton ain't losing that job.
Okay.